From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Happy holidays from Weather NorCal and our sponsors. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to remind you that Ted Blankenheim's 21st annual bike drive is still going on. You've got until tomorrow to drop off those bikes. You can see all of the donation locations going on here with the sponsors of Starbucks, Budget Blinds, Youth and Family Programs, AAA, Dill's Deli on Caterpillar Road, and Wheelman Club of Reading. So be sure to get those bikes in before it is too late so you can make an unfortunate child's Christmas a bright one. All right, let's take a look at the radar here, and just as expected, most of the rain moving through in the overnight and into these early morning hours. That band of rain is shifting to the north and west, and it's going to be a fairly dry day. I mean, minus a chance for a few sprinkles here and there. So looking at the headlines, we got off and on rain through Friday, which it will still be heavy at times. We've got the potential for more flooding, mudslides, rock slides, the works. Also, very strong winds are in the forecast with downed trees and power outages, a very good possibility. And unfortunately, just in time for your holiday travel, we've got lowering snow levels that could impact that holiday travel for Wednesday, Thursday in particular, and even Friday. But before we get into all of that, let's take a look at your Krueger's Quickcast for your Tuesday, December 23rd. So again, we've got that rain pushing itself off to the north and west. Now, the bulk of the rain through the morning hours and even into the early afternoon will be for the north coast. Everyone else just not seeing as much rain. So out the door this morning at 8 a.m., I think we're going to be looking at rain in some spots here, but places like Modoc County, Eastern Mountains, you actually may be dry because, again, that main band of rain is off to your west. So we take a look at the satellite image, and there's that rain, and there's the big plume of moisture. You'll also notice kind of the bottom and center part of your screen there, over the Pacific Ocean, there's an area of low pressure spinning. That's what's going to be coming through later tonight and early tomorrow morning, giving us that next round of some heavy rainfall. So let's take a look at the HRRR forecast model. This updates every hour. It's the latest information coming in. And you can see really kind of on par with what I was talking about. There may be still a few showers here and there for the valley this morning, but the bulk of that moisture is off to the north and west of the valley. So I expect mainly completely dry conditions for places like Modoc County, Lassen, and Plumas counties. But for the valley and to the north and west of the valley, at least that chance for showers with that heavier rainfall most likely through a good portion of the day for the north coast. But then by tonight, some moisture coming in from the south with that area of low pressure bringing us more rain. So chances for rain really increase, especially for Thursday, Friday. And then by the weekend, we should be done with this wet weather pattern for a while. All right, let's take a look at your forecast for today. Temperatures in the mid-50s for the valley. Temperatures mainly in the 40s and 50s for the higher elevations. And for tonight, temperatures in the mid to upper 30s for many of the higher elevations. We're going to start to see snow levels begin to slowly drop, but they're still not going to have huge impacts on your travel really until Wednesday night and into Thursday. So looking at your 7-day forecast for the valley, yeah, I mean, really mainly dry today, mostly cloudy. Best chance for rain will be Wednesday morning and then again Wednesday night, and then more rain off and on for Thursday and Friday, drying out for the weekend. The coast, you should be wet through most of the day, as well as the inland areas. Weaverville, you're probably wet for the morning, but by the afternoon, drier. And then maybe some, where it says PM showers on the 7-day forecast there, that also we have to include morning showers as well. It's that throughout most of the day it's dry though. And then you've got snow levels down to as low as 3,500 feet in some cases. And then of course over the weekend it dries out, but still cool, and we should stay dry into early next week. All right, so here's a look at what I'm tracking here through Friday. We're going to be looking at a series of storms moving through. The first one, a bit of a 1-2 punch, if you will. The first one's going to be moving through tonight, and then another one moving through Wednesday night into Christmas Day, and then through the day on Christmas. Gusty winds at times as early as tonight, and then again for Wednesday night into Christmas Day, gusts up to 50, possibly even 60 miles per hour in some cases. And we've also got mountain snow, which will lead to those travel delays. We're going to be talking about all of that in your complete deep dive forecast, which is sponsored by Shasta Hearing Aids.
Frank, come help with the dishes.
What?
The dishes!
I heard it the first time. I just got back from Shasta Hearing Aids, but she doesn't know it yet. What?
Forget it.
All right, so once again, here's a look at the radar. You're feeling that and hearing that pitter-patter of that rain on the roof here in the overnight hours. All of this, it's moving to the north and west. So eventually we're going to get into this drier slot here for even the Redding area. And then it's going to be dry through really most, if not all of the day for Modoc, Lassen, and Plumas counties, where the bulk of the rain today will be off to the north and to the west. So let's take a look at the water vapor. This shows you where the available moisture is. The water vapor that's kind of streaming in. You can clearly see all of that coming from the south. You see the spin here. This spin is going to be moving to the north and east by tonight, and that's really going to squeeze out all of that available moisture that's in place. In the meantime, I've also got my eyes on this area of low pressure, colder air pooling down. That is going to be the source for cooler air for lower elevation snow. And by the way, this low and this low here will eventually bring us some very strong winds to a point where we could be looking at the potential for some power outages in some areas. Here's the atmospheric river tracker, and really we don't have a well-defined atmospheric river that's pointed at us. You can see a lot of that moisture being kind of picked up off to the south here. In fact, the main atmospheric river is over Southern California. And really what we're going to be dealing with here for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are just an area of low pressure spinning, tapping into moisture, but not necessarily an atmospheric river on top of us as we go into your Thursday. There's that area of low pressure. Yeah, I mean, a weak atmospheric river here, it's tapping into that, but that's what's going to be the moisture source for the rain and that low elevation snow that we do see on Christmas Day through the day on Friday as well. You can see that low pressure, but that low pressure then dives down to the south, and behind it going into Saturday, Sunday, that drier air is going to start to usher in, and that's going to mean drier conditions as well. Let's walk you through the timing of all of this on Futurecast. Here it is this morning. You can see that band of rain just pushing to the north and west. By midday, it's mainly for the north coast. And, you know, just a passing sprinkle, light shower to the east of that. But notice we're even seeing clearing off to the east in Modoc, Lassen, and Plumas counties. And then by this evening, maybe a bit of a break for the north coast, but that low pressure really beginning to usher in that moisture by midnight tonight. Now, tomorrow morning, you can see the scattered showers. And by the way, you can hear some rumbles of thunder as well. But then look at this. Midday Wednesday, yeah, a passing shower here and there, especially for the mountains west of the valley, but not a lot of rain through the day on Wednesday. It's Wednesday night into Christmas Day. Look at this. You're seeing a round of heavy rainfall coming in right around the time Santa's coming in to deliver those gifts, right? Gusty winds associated with this, and this is where the cold front is. Snow levels are dropping down to about 4,000, 4,500 feet at this point. However, they're going to drop even lower as that cold front passes through. It brings in that colder air, and look at all of that snow. If you're going to be traveling, especially east of I-5, do note that there's a very good chance you'll be dealing with chain requirements Christmas morning. Maybe even on I-5, there could be the potential for snow. West of I-5 on Highway 299, maybe a little bit more hard-pressed, but Highway 36, you may see some snow as well. But, you know, Buckhorn Summit, Oregon, Mount Even Berry Summit, maybe some snowflakes, right? And then through the day on Thursday, Christmas Day, it's just going to be off and on showers, maybe some thunderstorms for the valley, and then we're looking at more of that snow, and that's going to create more travel delays. All right, so then we take you into your Friday morning. This is the day after Christmas. Look at this, more snow and low elevation snow. I-5 issues. We may see issues on Highway 299 West as well easily Highway 36, and then areas east of I-5 seeing that snow as well. No snow for the valley, but still that rain throughout the day on Friday. Now by Friday evening, look what's happening. It's beginning to really taper off. That drier air I was talking about for Saturday is going to start to usher in, and we expect drier conditions for the weekend. Forecast rain totals through that time frame. I think the valley could easily pick up anywhere from 1.5 inches to even over 2 inches. And obviously a bit more than that for the north coast, and we typically see less off to the north and east. So with all of this rain coming our way and the rain that we've seen, saturated ground, flood watch through Friday, mudslides, debris flows, and the rivers are going to start to swell up as well. Here's Eel River at Firm Bridge. You can see here that it did reach the moderate flood stage earlier, but we're going to be kind of hovering around action and close to the minor flood stage for the rest of this week. for Eel River at Fernbridge. Here's Sacramento River at Tehama Bridge. You can see it's going to be kind of hovering around that minor flood stage here through this week as well. So just be aware of that we are starting to see that potential here. I just wanted to show you a couple of those gauges here just to kind of show you that we are kind of in that phase where we got to really watch here through the rest of the week. But look at this. Remember, we were talking about drier conditions coming in. The Climate Prediction Center is picking up on that, and we're seeing less of those chances for above normal rainfall. So this is what's really going to be the main pattern setting up here over the next few days. And you're going to hear about the winds and the lower elevation snow. So really what I've got my eyes on is right here, this area of low pressure, and it's got some colder air. See how it's coming from Canada. So this is going to dive down to the south here through today and into tomorrow. Now what's going to happen is it's going to set itself here just to the west of us. On Christmas Day, you're going to have a couple of things. Number one, that cold air moving in. That's going to help to lower those snow levels. And number two, we're also looking at a pretty strong area of low pressure, strong enough that we can see gusts, very gusty winds as high as 40, 50, 60 miles per hour. Now, I think the strongest winds are going to be coming two waves. Tonight, and then again Wednesday night into Christmas morning. Then what's going to happen is this low pressure system will dive down to the south and east. Temperatures are going to be cooler. Snow levels may drop even a little bit more. But by Saturday, Sunday, what we're seeing here is drier conditions. However, the winds may pick up because we could be looking at some winds coming out of the north, which could help to usher in some even colder air. But at that point, it's dry, so we're not too terribly concerned about a ton of snow at that point. So let's talk about the two elements, the snow and the wind. And we're going to start with the snow. The National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning for many parts of Northern California, which obviously does not include the valley. And this is for tonight through Friday night. We've got that off and on rain and snow continuing through Friday night. Now, let's talk about the good coming out of the snow first and foremost. And the good is Mount Shasta Ski Park has announced it's opening the ski park on December 27th. But in parentheses, pending the upcoming storm. Yes, we're expecting a lot of snow up there, several feet of snow as a matter of fact, but if it doesn't materialize, then they can't open up, right? But in anticipation of that snow, the Mount Shasta Ski Park will be opening up. All right, now let's talk about the bad part of this, because the thing is, a lot of you may be traveling here over the next few days. Now, tonight, tomorrow morning, I don't think you're going to see any problems here. It might be overdoing it here for Wednesday for Mount Shasta, but overall, not too terribly concerned, even through the day on Wednesday for travel concerns. However, by Wednesday night into Thursday, now the snow levels are dropping. East of I-5, chain requirements. North of Redding on I-5 around Mount Shasta northward, maybe some chain requirements. We may even see chain requirements on Highway 299 and especially Highway 36, but the chances are slimmer between Redding and the coast. But it's picking up on some for Weaverville, Hayfork. At the very least, it may be a mix, but I don't think you're going to see any accumulating snow. And then we go into Friday, more, all right? So the same issues I was talking about for Christmas Day, I think we're going to be dealing with on Friday as well. So as I mentioned, just in time for that travel plans, you've got more snow. And, you know, if you're traveling in the Sierra, it's going to be even worse. We saw chain requirements yesterday. We're going to see them again here today and most likely through Friday as well. You have higher mountain passes in the Sierra, so that's why we typically see more chain requirements there. All right, now let's talk about the other aspect of that storm I was talking about, and that's the winds. Now today, they're going to start to pick up, and you'll notice them ramping up. And then as we go into tonight and early tomorrow morning, look at that. Winds really strong coming from the south. 30, 40, maybe even 50 miles per hour. Now, one of the things I want to mention, because some of you, I've been talking about the convergence line that we saw on Sunday associated with those gusty winds. I want you to really understand that what we saw on Sunday was a little unusual. Yes, the convergence line is very common, and we may see more convergence lines with these winds both tonight and then again tomorrow night. However, I don't anticipate it to be a prolonged event like the one we saw on Sunday. Remember, the one on Sunday was like 10 hours long. We most likely won't see it last that long, and it will probably have a lot of the characteristics that we typically see, which will be a narrow band of rain, typically around Redding, northeast up into Bernie. But number two, it'll wobble around a little bit more. And number three, it won't last as long, maybe a few hours at most. But it is obviously something I'll be watching very closely and keeping you updated on. Now, you can see those winds very strong late tonight, early tomorrow morning. But by Wednesday afternoon, they subside. But then the next round of wind comes in, and I think that as we go into Wednesday night, Thursday morning, those are going to be some of the stronger winds that we'll see. And the winds will be strong through the day on Christmas Day and even into your Friday morning. But I do expect the winds to finally die down a little bit by Friday afternoon. But the winds may ramp up again Saturday, Sunday as that low pressure dies down to the south and east. This is basically what we call a forecast wind swath. And what this is basically saying is from now through Thursday morning, here is what the forecast model picking up on the strongest wind. And I think most of these high numbers that you're seeing here are going to be as we go into tomorrow night and into Christmas morning. All right, so very gusty winds. That could lead to the potential for downed trees, power outages, the works, right? All right, so let's take a look at the lake levels. Very good news. Look at that, 10 feet in the last 24 hours for Lake Oroville, and we're still seeing those lakes rise for Shasta and Trinity Lake. So very nice to see these lake levels coming back up. And in fact, Lake Oroville has climbed back up to over 100% for historical average. Very nice. All right, so look at the wave heights. They are getting higher, especially as we go into Wednesday as well. And in fact, when we look at our marine forecast, the wind's not that strong this morning, but later this evening they will pick up. And as a result, there is a storm warning for tonight. And again, that'll probably go into tomorrow as well. All right, so here's your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. You've got those temperatures generally in the upper 40s and low 50s for those daytime highs. Essentially, here's the deal. We're going to be looking at off and on chances for rain here for today and tomorrow. And for the North Coast, you're going to be wet through a good portion of the day today. East of the coast, though, not very wet. And in fact, most of the rain we see over the next few days will be this morning and then again tonight. And then through the day on Thursday, again, not much going on Wednesday. And then for Wednesday night into Thursday, more off and on rain here for your Christmas Day and also for your Friday. We talked about the snow levels as low as 3,500 feet in many cases here. I think some of the higher mountain communities will see some accumulating snow, especially around the Chester area, for example. Temperatures in the mid-50s for your daytime highs for the valley for today. There you can see out towards Redding, about 54 degrees for that daytime high. And taking a look at your Chico 7-day forecast, there it is. Merry Christmas, although I forgot to change the icon. This should be over here. Well, that's just the beauty of it. So this is Christmas, not Friday. Just kind of take that note here. And taking a look at Redding, I forgot to do the same here. This should be over here, but you get the idea here. It's Christmas on Thursday. And then, of course, the day after Christmas on Friday, temperature of 45. And then 50 for your daytime highs. Notice it's drying out. We're drying out for the weekend and into early next week. All right, that is a look at your morning update. I'll be back again at noon for your latest forecast. Have a great morning.
When you see flashing lights, someone's life depends on us.
And while we're out helping crash victims, we need your help to keep us safe.
Move over, slow down, it's the law, it protects everyone.
Our crews are out here every day, keeping the roads safe for you and your family.
We're often the last ones on scene, and we want to make it home safe too.
Protect those who protect you, slow down and move over.